your family were you guys moving as the war progressed, and where were you towards the end of it?
Yeah. We, first of all, from Lagos, we went to Ikorekpene, then Ikorekpene, Enugu back to Ikorekpene to Umuahia, and then Umuahia, we moved to Ifakala. This was the one time when we were homeless during the war, and it may come as a surprise to people, but I like to tell people that, tell this story, because if the second in command, if his family could be homeless, then imagine what's happening to other people. But my father's aide-de-camp, which is like your special assistant if you're a top military officer, his father had a home in Ifakala. They're from a place called Ifakala. It's near Owerri. And they took us in. They took my mother and my brothers and sisters, as well as my mother's sister and her children. They gave us accommodation there. And I think my father, he settled somewhere else, but he didn't stay there with us because he had his military responsibilities and duties to take care of. So yeah, we moved to Ifakala, and we were still in Ifakala, and that's where I saw firsthand the sad refugee and starvation problems, which I'm not going to go into here because I don't think we have time. But those images of starving and dying children, we saw a lot of death in Ifakala too. Those images are still with me, but we were still in Ifakala when Biafra, regained control of Owerri. It was one of the greatest victories in Biafra because looking back at what I know about Biafra, it's nothing short of a miracle that they were able to eventually recapture Owerri, and so we moved to Owerri. But Biafra at this point had shrunk in size. Most of Biafra had been overtaken, had been overrun. Most of Biafra was starving. There was little or no infrastructure. The morale of the soldiers was very low. Biafra was in its worst state, so to speak. So eventually, Owerri was to be recaptured. And just before it was recaptured, I'm not going into details. We escaped again from Owerri, but this time there was no place to go to. So we actually ended up in Nnewi. Later on, I would learn about arrangements between my father and Ojukwu. Ojukwu had told my father he was leaving in search of peace. And my father said, well, I'm going to stay, but can you take my wife and my children? She's pregnant. So eventually, we left about 3 days before the war ended. We left on a cargo plane. It didn't have seats. When I fly today and they say fasten your seatbelts, I just shake my head. I say, you guys don't understand.